Welcome to the Simply His Coffee Shop. Today we have another special guest who's actually been on the show before talking about her cancer journey. So if you've missed that episode, go back and watch it. It's with Lynn Williams. But today she's here to talk about a new thing that she is doing for the ranch as Grandma Lynn. Joe has gotten her to start doing part of updates for the ranch and telling you, our viewers, about the ranch and what we do there and the ministry that goes on at Whispering Ponies Ranch. And we actually just did an update with Kate, my daughter, and with Mom, talking about the ranch and all of the things that we do there and how we get ready for the camps that we host there. But we thought it'd be fun for Grandma Lynn to come on and talk to us about everything that she's got going on and what's coming down the pike with what she's been entrusted to do.
Oh, my. Those are heavy words, entrusted.
Or thrust upon you. Is that
there we
voluntold?
Voluntold. Voluntold, indeed. No, I am so pleased and so happy, and I am excited to bring the ranch to you on a weekly basis, to let you see the things that happen at the ranch, to make you a part of this place where we are, where we get to see God's presence, His hand at work in children. It's just amazing.
How are you going to do that, Lynn? What's
that's
kind of the vision for
That's
this?
the question, isn't it? Now, my plan is to, when I get the technical part down, it will be doing a vlog or bog or whatever it is those things are called, a weekly little snippet on things that are happening at the ranch. What happens to make things happen, what has to be done to take you along. You know, if we're building fence, here's what building fence looks like on the ranch.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I want to introduce you to all the buildings and the things that happen in the buildings, to the animals, and I'll probably be doing some interviews with some of the animals.
So all the viewers at home, you're going to give them kind of a day-to-day what happens at the ranch, like as though they got to come along and be on the ranch.
As if you were there too, that you become connected.
Absolutely, because they are. You know, a lot of them are donors and sponsors and help us, run the camps by making a donation to SkyWatchTV. And
just so that your involvement, that your prayers and your support, that you can see how much that means to us and to the children, and to the things that happen there, and the excitement of being involved. You know, it's such a pleasure that God takes us along on the adventures that He does. One of the things that I love that Tom said is a little boy at the camp was watching Tom like work on a toilet or something. He was always having to fix something or work on something. And the little boy walked up to him and said, "Are you God?" And Tom's response was, "No, He lets me work here." You know, it's just so exciting to have adventures with the Lord. And these are adventures when you see Him stirring spirits within people. And it's amazing how He uses all of His creation to do that. He uses the trees and the rocks and the water, and He uses each animal that is there. His creation becomes alive, that He shows who He is. It's so fun to see. So we'll talk about the buildings, we'll talk about the people that do this. I will get to, which is exciting for me, to interview some of the people that work with these camps, that have devoted their life, that have given up a week to spend at camp with the children. And the fun part is that they will tell you they get more than they give. And that's the way we all feel when we're working there. We get so much more than we give. And just to, like I said, I get to learn the technical part of some of the shots may be a little funny when Grandma Lynn is trying to take a shot and it's not from the right angle. There's no telling what you might view. But
when Tom was in the hospital and Joe was doing the updates, about what was going on and stuff at the hospital, a lot of people got a lot out of that. And so that's kind of where this whole idea of SkyWatch Family.
Yeah, that the SkyWatch TV family be updated on what was going on. And that's kind of where this was birthed.
Right. And so, exactly. So Joe is wanting to do more himself, but obviously he's very strapped for time as well.
Right.
To be able to go and do all of the things that you'll be doing.
But you'll see him, I'm sure, because with Grandma Lynn,
he will be in them.
Able to interview
Everybody will be in them. You'll get to see Nita and Kate and Catherine and everybody that's there, and get to meet them and enjoy their lives like I do, to know who they are and why they're excited that they're doing God's work, that they are there and they've put themselves in God's hands to be used.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Grandma Lynn's going to bring an inside look to the things we do. I can see right now where she will have access to come into the kitchen and get a shot of the buffet line while it's steaming hot.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because she's going to understand the angles of which to hold the whole camera to keep everything safe.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Because for those who don't understand what that means, is one of the reasons we don't share a lot of picture media is because it has to first be approved through a safe environment, which means you can't post photos of any of the kids.
No.
Right. So she will be focusing on the activities of the ranch.
Yeah.
You may see them from afar where you can't identify, or you may see a back of a head, but they don't do the face-on shots with the kids because their privacy is very important for their lives.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of that comes through what the groups have predetermined is safe, and then they gift those to us to use.
That's correct.
But we ourselves do not photograph the kids.
Yeah.
No.
This is where Grandma Lynn comes in. She gets to photograph what's going on without
that happening.
Without that.
To get to talk with the people that are playing the parts of Grandma and Grandpa. I can speak with those and interview them to see what they received from camp and what story they might have from camp. And I love the stories from camp, even the little simple ones, like two little girls standing in the buffet line, and they've become friends, and they've just enjoying each other's company. And one looks at one and she goes, "Well, my daddy's in prison," and the other little girl goes, "Hey, mine is too. Do you think they know each other?"
Aww.
You know, they just can connect with a friend, and I mean, it's just the simple little things that are there.
Those are the things we get to view.
Yes.
But we can't share that stuff. But Grandma Lynn's going to hit all the other highlights.
Yeah.
Which I love, because she will get to float. And like she says, she gets to interview the grandmas and the grandpas who are the established, as you put it earlier in one other episode, the familial idea behind why they call it royal family.
Yes.
And so that these kids feel the structure of a family. And so Lynn, she will get to go through and speak to all of those people that are those familial names.
Yes.
And they will get to share one-on-one with Lynn. Why are they there?
Right.
What does it mean to be here? And Lynn's the best person to do that, because very, very communicable. I mean, she's very easy to talk with.
I'm not very threatening.
You make it very easy.
I don't scare very many people. No, it's exciting. I want to bring you into, if you haven't heard, like perhaps Nita's vision that God gave her of why she dreamed of this place happening.
Yeah.
That's an important part of it, to know why. Why would anybody want a place like this, to build a place like this?
Yeah.
What came into Nita and Tom's mind to even do this? How did this happen?
Right.
Where was it born? And to go from there, from the birth of it, through the life of it each day, and to let you know how much we appreciate you.
Very much.
As you pray for us, as you help us with donations, to make all this available, which is very, very costly. If the camps that were coming in had to pay for this place to do it, most of their time would be spent on trying to raise enough money to have a place where they could take the kids.
Yeah.
A lot of the camps cost so much, and because they are state children, they have to reserve the whole camp.
Yeah.
It has to be totally private, so they have to reserve the whole camp. And the convenience, the way that God has set it up, so that where the bunkhouse is, where the dining hall is,
all
where
the
the bathrooms
all
are,
the facilities.
yes, that was very God-directed and very God-given, and we're so thankful for that. And it has proved itself so true. And I just want to bring you along and show you those things.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be fun, too, for viewers who have caught the vision and are partners with us to be able to see the staff. During summer camps, because a lot of times some of us are behind a microphone or behind a camera or, in administration or in the warehouse or wherever. And, what we do all the rest of the year just for those 9 weeks.
Right.
Yes.
It'll be fun.
Well, and we all count down to it too, because that 9 weeks is almost where we get refilled. It's really hard to go through those 9 weeks because you see the trauma to the kids and there's so much that goes on and it's heartbreaking, but at the same time it gives you that motivation to say, okay, now we can get through the next 9 months so that we can then go through this again and we can do this again, because it makes such a huge difference. Yeah. And that's why we even have so many of our staff on occasion come out and help, so that when they're getting that angry customer on the phone or through an email or whatever, they remember why they're doing what they do. Because it's all ministry and every order that comes through helps pay for the camp. So it's this cyclical thing. So we all help each other and we all are trying to get through so that we can do camps again, because it's all about the camps and it's all about ministering to these kids, so that's where our heart really is. We do everything else because we have to. But then we get to, like Tom said, we get to work at the camp and we get to minister to these kids.
God lets us do that.
God lets us do that. And that's why we do what we do, for sure. And the other thing, too, to bounce again off of what you said, though, that the cost of sending kids to camp is so
it's like $1,200 to $1,500 a week on average.
That's just insane to me.
That's on average. That's not some of those specialty camps or, the really high activity type camps.
That's just insane. But having said that, though, we do know that a few of the camps, because they're not having to pay now so much to bring kids to camp because they get our facilities for free. What they've done now with the money that helps save them, they've taken that money and now they're creating bigger ministry opportunities with the kids. And then, like, one of the groups was then able to start promoting Teen Reach, which is track, which is teen adventure camps, and that's for the kids that graduate out of Royal Family Kids. So then it takes care of the teenagers, but they weren't going to be able to do that unless now they have this other. So they're just furthering that ministry and still using funds that they had allocated to send the kids to camp for a different part of the ministry. And that's huge.
Well, that's been the heart of SkyWatch, is to be able to underwrite everything that's going on at the camp, from staff to feed, food services, repairs and maintenance. Last year's storm, we put 2 roofs on this year out of the camp because
we had one
of the storm.
shelter completely wiped out. We had to rebuild.
Exactly.
And one had to have some repair.
Extensive repair.
All of them need painting because it's time to paint.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that has to happen regularly.
And all that stuff goes on, 24/7 all year, not just
through the 9
weeks.
9 weeks,
exactly. But that's
another aspect is that in the off season, we do have some of our groups come and do training.
They're training. Yeah, they do. Yes.
So you just only
free
have
of charge.
just the absolutely.
Free of charge,
And we also provide food for them. Because they are the ones who bring the kids during the summer. So they'll come in March and April and in May. And they do all of their training. It's a partnership.
Absolutely.
And it's what the vision of the ranch is for.
100%.
We also have a women's group who is brand new. They've been there a couple of years.
This was their second year.
Yes. And the reason that they are approved to come is because it is a very, very sister idea in that these are women that have gone through similar things these kids are going through. But now they're adult. And they don't have anyone to help them. They don't know where to go to get help.
They may not have had
they didn't have that
advantage of coming to Royal Family Kids or to a Teen Reach program.
So they're dealing with all of the aftermath now. And what's really cool is that this particular ministry is booming because the need is so great.
Great, yeah.
And we get to be a part of that. It's exponential since the first year that we've known them, and so each year it gets busier.
Mm-hmm.
It's because there's a lot of people out there that need help.
Oh, yeah.
And
There's so many hurting people out there.
Back to Grandma Lynn.
Here he is.
This is supposed to be her moment to...
Well, all of this goes in with what Grandma Lynn is doing, though, because, again, she'll be able to come to certain groups and certain camps and talk to them, and then you guys will get the benefit of that with being able to watch those behind the scenes of her talking to them and getting their stories of how they're helping all of these people.
It's amazing at the end of the camp when I talk with one of the people and ask them, what was something that you could tell me that you saw a change in a child's life, or where did you see God working? And so the more I talk to different ones, they can see it in so many different places. The ranch is a beautiful place. You can just feel the presence of God while you sit there and look around, and to share that all with you, to bring you along on each of these trips, to experience something different. I'm hoping to make it so you feel like you're just right there. Yeah, you can feel the sky, you can feel the green grass, you can feel the touch of a loving horse, or Melvin, the little sheep who loves everybody.
He's adorable.
Melvin will be a wonderful interview because he is such a kind little soul that loves everybody so much. So there are so many different things to see how God may have used the zip line to spark a moment in a child's life that he'll use later. Right. He'll be able to remember that trust he had, and when he needs trust again in the Lord, it's there for him. He can pull it up. It's amazing on the rock wall to see that encouragement builds them up so that they can try a little harder, and they want to. And still, as we say, they still have that choice on, do you want to go higher right now, or do you want to wait?
Yep.
That is their choice, and they have power in that. Right. They feel power as they sit driving a pony on a cart. They get to tell the horse, I want you to turn now. Some of them have felt like they've had no power in their life at all.
Exactly. Absolutely. And they're amazed.
They are.
And how much little that they have to on the reins, because we tell them, be gentle. Just a little tug, and if you can't see my finger, I'm just doing a little tug, like crooking my finger saying, come here. And those little horses respond to that, and the children are amazed at how little it takes to get the horse to go the direction they would like him to go.
Yeah.
And it's the first round for some of these kids is fun, because they're like, all the way left, all the way right. No, you're going to hit the wall, come back with us. But by round 2, they're like getting it. And of course, the ones that have been back, they've got it old school, but they still get that same reminder that they're in control.
I know Teen Reach this year is using the life of Daniel as their teaching in God's Word, and how Daniel stood firm for his convictions, and to learn all the things that they will learn from Daniel's life. And they're also help to, even in their games that they play or their obstacle courses that they do, all of it will reinforce that courage that was in Daniel's life. And then you'll get to hear stories that come from the people who worked with them, that this is what this child learned. We were so amazed. Yeah. And the faith that a child can build in such a short time. I know why Jesus said, bring the kids to me, because they were just so trusting and loving and accepting to what Jesus had to say. Exactly. That just brings me delight when you see that little light come on inside of them, that Jesus loves me. He loves me when I felt like nobody else loved me. Jesus does. And, I want to share my favorite story right now because I'm talking about stories. And this one just has always, just when I'm down and I can think about it, it brings me up. Here we go. The kids come into camp on Monday. And this little girl had never been there before. So Monday about noon, she exits the bus, and she goes with her little group of 4, 5 little girls. And they go with their leaders, and they have their fun day. And then they get ready for bed, and they're going to bed. And she wakes up in the middle of the night screaming because she has night terrors. Mm-hmm. Horrible, terrible night terrors. When the counselors speak with her, she says, I have these every night. Every night of my life that I know of, I've woke up screaming, and I'm scared, and I'm shaking, and I don't know what to do. Yeah. And they ask her, have you ever asked God if he will take these from you? And her reply is, I don't know who God is, and I don't know how to ask him. And they said, well, we'll help you with that. We will teach you and show you who God is, and we will help you ask him. And they got their little group together, the girls that were in the room and the counselors, and they prayed together that God would take this from her. So here came Tuesday, and then Tuesday night, she slept beautifully all night long. Then there was Wednesday night. Once again, she slept beautifully all night long. She woke up on Thursday morning, and she started going from one of her camper friends to the next camper friend, saying, do you have anything that you want me to pray for? Because my God can do it.
That's so sweet.
I love it.
That's precious.
Just a mustard seed of faith that grew, that bloomed, that she had found this trust in this God that she didn't know and she didn't know how to talk to. And in the moment, in the middle of the night, she was introduced to him.
And that will stay with her forever.
Forever.
That's very cool. I love that story.
It just brings me delight when
Made
I
an
think
evangelist out of her within
exactly
a day or two.
Exactly.
Well, then that happens a lot at camp, you know, a lot of these kids. Because, again, because they're wards of the state, they have to be careful with how they tell the kids about Jesus because you can't force it on them and things like that. But everything is biblically based, so the kids do get to encounter Jesus at every turn of what they're doing because they have him integrated in everything. You know, they pray for the meals. They even ask the kids to pray, and that's so cute when they allow the kids to pray. It's so stinking cute because the kids will then, you know, start volunteering. Oh, hey, I'd like to pray. Because some of them may have been there before to camp, so they know what's going on and they know what to expect. So, you know, they're doing that. And then other ones, like, they won't pray at all week, and then all of a sudden, Thursday or Friday, now they're wanting to pray because they've been introduced to him, and they're seeing how Jesus is real, and he's tangible, and he's there for them.
And by the end of the week, they it's like trying to, you know, baptize a cat in a toilet bowl. You know, they're like holding onto the doors. They don't want to leave.
They don't want to leave. Yeah, Fridays are very hard for us up at camp.
I don't go out to
Thursdays
camp on
and Fridays are extremely hard.
Yeah. It is hard.
Very hard.
Yeah.
But the
for
delight,
everyone.
the delight in sending them out with a new hope.
That's so true.
What a delight.
That's so true.
You know, you don't know at what point in their life that little spark may light a fire, but you know the spark's there.
Right.
Yes, and what I love about that spark is it sometimes will completely redirect their life.
Absolutely.
Yes. I often say this, and I'll say it as often as I can, and that is some of these kids, they always tell me, I'm going to come back when I get old enough.
Yep.
Well, we're starting to kind of see that.
We are seeing
We've
that.
got junior counselors that were here
As a
in
camper.
2017 as a little kid, learning all of what we do and who we are and partnering with those. It's been incredible to know that these are kids that were in the gap.
Oh, for sure.
And now they are on a path that is a different path than what they were.
Absolutely.
And I'm talking about boys as well, little boys and girls.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's it's just fun to watch. I love when they say that. I'm coming back to work when I get big enough. Because they may not come back to me, but they're going to remember the experience and they'll go find that.
Right.
Whatever this was, I'm going to go find, and that's what I'm going to do with my life. May not be with us, but it's going to be that direction.
Absolutely. Well, and Joe teases the kids too, especially the ones that are graduating out. He's like, do you know what the trick is to always be able to come back to camp?
Because they don't want to leave.
No, they don't want to leave, and they're sad when they quote unquote graduate out of Royal Family. Yeah. Well, now there's Teen Reach in this area, so a lot of times they can come back now with Teen Reach, but he still tells them, do you know what the trick is to always coming back to camp? He's like, when you get older, you can become a counselor, or you can be a junior counselor, and then you can come back to camp forever.
Yeah, exactly.
And be here and help kids just like you. And then they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Like they had never thought of that before, but we are seeing that. And even Wayne Tesh, who is the founder of Royal Family Kids, he's got multiple stories, and anybody that's worked with Royal Family has stories of that. Like I shared one on my Facebook page again, because all the Royal Families, they're starting to gear up for camp season and stuff, and they posted this thing about this girl that I think she's graduating high school or something, but she's now coming back as a junior counselor, but she used to be a camper. So you're seeing those stories, and stories come out even when they're in their 40s. Because I think Wayne Tesh actually has shared a story about that, where he went into somewhere and this guy recognized him and said, hey, I know you from camp when I was a kid.
Wow.
He's like, and because of what I learned at camp got me out of a really hard time when I was at a pivotal point trying to make a choice. Yes. And there's so many stories about that. And I think that's one of the things that we always have to remember, is that you can be the person that makes the difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Just by being that one little light in the dark, being that seed that gets planted. And that's why we want to share all these things with you from camp, just because they are so important in their faith building. You know, it's like, oh, well, if they can do that, well, maybe I can do that too. And maybe plant that seed in you as a viewer to say, I think I'd like to really try to go and help out at camp and see what it's like.
Well, prime example is, going to be featured in our upcoming documentary, Rescue Us. Samantha Orr, the worst case of child abuse and neglect in the state of Missouri. Right. And what God brought her through the introduction into camp, Royal Family, where she was then and where she is now. Yes. What a beautiful portrait.
Absolutely.
Of, what camp can do for a child.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's incredible. She has accomplished a great deal and is now mentoring younger ones along the way. Yeah. But her story is incredible.
Yeah.
But definitely be watching for the release. We have not actually released the Grandma Lynn shows yet, so be watching for that, because we will be letting you know.
And that's going to be on what social media platforms? Is it TikTok? Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, and you can always get them on our app.
On our app.
Our app is a great thing to have.
Because unlike some other platforms, you cannot
get
canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
Deplatformed.
Yeah, right.
And the app is there straight out of the SkyWatch
But everything's there that you might want to see, and you can go through the archives, you can find the programs, for Simply His, for SkyWatch, for 5 and 10.
Right.
They're all on there, so it's very easy to use.
Good.
Yeah, yes, for sure. So be watching for when we release the Grandma Lynn episodes, and those will be really exciting. I'm excited for that, to get to watch those, because I know it'll be really entertaining and very meaningful. So
it'll put you right here at camp with us.
That's where I want you.
Yeah.
I want you to feel the joy of the Lord in each one.
Amen. Right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today here in the Simply His Coffee Shop, and we will see you next week.